This week, we've seen narrating narcoleptics, time-traveling tantrums, and haphazard horticulture. Let's dive right into what's on the pull list. Alright, we're going to start this week with Briar Night Terrors #1, written by Christopher Cantwell with artwork by Alex Linz. We're back. We're finally back, and we get the ending of the trilogy that is the Briar storyline here from Boom Studios. Briar and crew are kind of laying low, right? They're taking it easy. They're sitting pretty. Things are going okay because they're outside of the scope of the fairy godmother. Yeah, I kind of bet that'll last. So after a bit of a hiatus here, Cantwell is getting to put a bow on the Sleeping Beauty story here, and I'm really happy that it's back. The series, like overall, each one of these arcs, I feel like has flown under the radar. This issue kind of picks up and it kind of catches up with everything that's going on with the characters. It has every bit of like the charm and the fantasy, the whimsy, but we also get a lot of the danger that we got from each one of these installments here. Alex Linz, I'm so glad that he took over the series here. He started with the second installment, and he has really carved out a nice niche in the fantasy genre for these books. His gritty work totally works. Like, he was one of the fill-in artists recently for Ultimate Wolverine. Loved it. Really great. But I feel like there's something just like synergistic when he's doing the fantasy scope of storylines. It just feels right. Overall, I'm just really happy that Briar is back. Next up, we have Cyberarchy #1, written by Matthew Hardy with artwork by Clark Bint. This is all about like a robotic commune in space, and they're all self-sufficient, they're all self-aware, and they're all looking towards this sun that's kind of on the verge of going supernova. It's just that one of them happens to have been born just a few minutes ago. I didn't know if I was going to read this. I kind of had zero expectations or preconceived notions about what this book could be and what I wanted to get from the storyline, but it was from Mad Cave, and Mad Cave has earned my trust. They've earned my respect. They're kind of like low key one of the coolest publishers of 2025, in my opinion. So this didn't let me down. I was like really entertained with the journey. It has whip snap like dialogue. It's really funny, especially with the robot that had just been born, kind of like going back and forth with his other robotic character as he's trying to convey his worry over both learning everything new that comes with life and understanding he has less than 24 hours to live overall. This story was like clearly more about the journey than the destination. It's a nice change of pace, right? We a lot of times we're always wondering, how does it end? What do we get next? What do we get next? And that's not what this issue is about whatsoever. It's all about living in the middle pages, basically living in the middle of it. The journey is more important here. It's a risky proposition for a Wednesday warrior, but like I feel like it's also kind of one that's going to be enriching and enticing. All right, let's talk DCKO Knightfight #2, written by Joshua Williamson with artwork by Dan Mora. I kind of didn't like issue #1. In fact, it really bummed me out. But in this issue, Batman is still kind of stuck in that alternate Gotham where Nightwing has taken on the mantle of the Bat, and the Bruce of that universe has supposedly killed all the other Robins. I had a better experience with this issue here. Mora is still the star of the show. The artistic quality is undeniable. I feel like, I mean, you hear Dan Mora and you know you're going to get a really solid looking book. There's a slight change that happens midway through the story, though, due to Batman kind of traveling between universes from one to the next. And I love the way that they approach that. Still totally Dan Mora, but just enough of a change to make it visually appealing. It's a silly story through and through, though. But issue #2, again, just like I was saying, is so much better than issue #1, in my opinion. The premise is still really weird and wacky, but I had a better experience with this one, so maybe, just maybe, this got enough of a hook in it to make me follow along for the next issue. Sticking around in the Eventville of DC, let's talk DCKO Superman vs. Captain Atom #1, written by Joshua Williamson with artwork by Sean Isaacs. I mean, it's right there in the title, right? We know exactly what this book is about. Superman, Captain Atom, smashing the toys together. That's what we get here. This is Mortal Kombat via the DC universe. I feel like we've gotten that too. Like, that's a real thing, right? I told myself I'd avoid these tie-ins at all costs because you're more likely to be disappointed by a tie-in than actually really enjoy it. I gotta say though, I'm not mad at this issue. I don't have any background with Captain Atom, and I really enjoyed the characterization and the fight that happened. It's silly and dumb in the best ways. Superman and Captain Atom fight. They choose their avatars of their previous and future selves. They fight again. It's like sometimes you want filet mignon, and sometimes that's really good, but sometimes you also want Taco Bell. This is Taco Bell, but don't act like you're not craving a chalupa every once in a while. That's what this issue is all about. That might be what this event is all about, but I gotta say, if this is kind of like the quality we'll get from a tie-in, I'm here for that chalupa. All right, we got a new premiere issue, so let's talk Doctor Strange #1, written by Derek Landy with artwork by Ivan Fiorelli. Stephen has been relegated to Asgard now. He's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme of Midgard or Earth. And now that Thor is presumed dead, he's a bit aimless, and no one really trusts him because of some prior events that happened with him teaming up with Loki. This felt very much like a fetch quest, though. Like, go do this, go see him. We got a mini boss. Don't forget to fight him because you can't progress until you do that. I didn't feel a connection to the character the same way that I did with McKay's run. I feel like McKay's run and his voice for the character brought something special to it. It brought a lot of heart to the character, and it brought different aspects that I feel like haven't been explored with the character. And I don't know if I'm seeing anything that's kind of new and exciting that's being explored here, at least with issue #1. The art was decent. It's got super thick lines here. It makes it feel very cartoony, but also kind of coming along with that, it has very expressive faces, so I'm not mad at the artwork here. It's just that the experience I got didn't leave me wanting more. Next up, we have Poison Ivy #39, written by G. Willow Wilson with artwork by Marcio Takara. So Janet from HR has been in a bad way for the last couple issues here, and maybe it's kind of the worst way here, but old Pamela Isley, she got a plan. She definitely always has a plan. And a meal. This is kind of like the old wives' tale here. You starve a fever, you feed a cold, and I guess maybe she just got a cold. This issue really conveys what makes the series work. It's not about the events, it's not even about the plot necessarily. It's about the characters and how they interact. They change, they struggle, they move on. Sometimes maybe they don't move on. This is a character piece that just really, really works so well, and I love all the time that we get to spend with Pamela and Janet in this. Takara strikes this beautiful balance between the gritty and natural lines here. This book feels organic, and there's no way that that's a coincidence, right? We're talking about Poison Ivy, for God's sake. So the fact that the artistic approach is following that narrative structure, let me tell you, it works out really good. Great job, Mario. So overall, Poison Ivy, like 39 issues in, still doing the trick every single time. All right, let's talk Rook Exodus #9, written by Jeff Johns with artwork by Jason Fabak. So Rook and the fellow wardens are captured by these spiders, and they get some clues as to how this world engine may have stopped. So they're kind of traversing, they're looking for Direwolf's father, who is like the only person who can basically reignite this world engine and get it to a place where the world can actually continue to work. The problem is there's forces that are working against them, plus the father character is not really all there in the head. This is an exposition heavy issue. There's a whole lot of explaining, a whole lot of narration about the actions that are taking place on the page, but it's also kind of a silly premise, so I'm okay with the fact that they're taking that approach with this singular issue. It's impossible, though, to not be impressed with the artwork. Fabok really provides some really creepy scenes here. When we're talking about the Spider Warden, who kind of we get like to spend the most time with now, it's eerie. It is eerie as hell, but it's totally effective. It's exactly what it needs to be. I'm glad that they're able to take the time that they want to let Fabok cook on this, because even those breaks, while I don't enjoy the time that we're away, it makes it worthwhile when we come back to it. All right, with the conclusion of its first arc, let's talk Speed Racer #5, written by David Papos with artwork by David Tinto. We got Speed Racer, we got Racer X. They team up, they're against the Black Jaguar here. It's kind of funny, we cut off the previous issue in the middle of a race. We pick right back up from here, and one of these people has to take home the trophy, and if Speed is able to, he's using that money to save his father, who just recently had a heart attack. Super fun issue, just crazy fun issue. It's breakneck pace, as you'd expect, because it's a Speed Racer book, right? But the whip snap pacing of it from start to finish made it so freaking entertaining here. This ties up the arc, right? And this series has made it's kind of made a Speed Racer fan out of me. I had no history with this character, but this makes me kind of want to, first of all, continue reading the series, which great, that's effective. You want to do that, but it makes me want to like explore the history of this character and like sit down and maybe watch a couple of cartoons. It's a great all ages book that's charming, it's fun, but it's also, I don't know, it's something that everyone can take something away from it here. So Speed Racer number 5 here, great ending to its first arc. Next up, we have Ultimate Universe 2 Years In number 1, written by Alex Packnadel and Dennis Camp, with a whole litany of artists. Primarily in this issue, we get the ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy as they kind of race to find their missing members amongst their ranks, which is huge in the Ultimate Universe here. But they're also trying to basically stitch together these two universes, the future that they are from and the present day that the Maker is in right now. The Maker's, ramifications here basically had split those two things. They've split the paths of what the Maker has done and what the future could have been had the Maker not done anything. It was surprising. I don't know if it worked out as well as I wanted it to, though. I didn't know what to expect. I thought we were just going to get a look at the Ultimate Universe. And, sure, yeah, we kind of get that, but we don't really. We spend so much time with the Guardians of the Galaxy that I feel like the viewpoint has totally strayed away from what we were getting with every other Ultimate book. We had the other book that kind of focused on Nick Fury, and I feel like it did such an effective job at kind of keeping those through lines kind of going, right? And this doesn't necessarily do that. We also get some weird introductions here. We get the introduction of the Ultimate Daredevil, who is extraordinarily different than what you would expect here, which is equal parts cool, but also we kind of know that the Ultimate Universe is ending. So is this all for naught? Do they know something we don't know? Probably. Overall, though, I gotta say this issue kind of was a stinker. All right, let's talk Wild Animals number 5, written by Ed Brisson with artwork by Andy Kuhn. I said it previously and I'll say it again, we have an unreliable narrator, but the problem is that he is faced in this issue with kind of coming to terms with the fact that the story that he knew and the upbringing that he knew is not exactly the one that he has been acting upon, right? He's on this vengeful mission where he's trying to take out the people who murdered his father because he thought his father was a righteous cop, right? Doing the right thing and kind of being the person who brought other people to justice. That's not the case. I really think that the artwork is what drove this crime series forward for me. I really love what Andy Kuhn did here with the gritty, everything gritty that he brought to it, whether it was his line work, whether it was his characterization, right? The facial expressions, because this is a very emotive kind of comic. The narrative, it surprised me. It took me for a loop because I didn't necessarily know, first of all, where we were going to be going, and I definitely didn't anticipate where we ended up. I'm still trying to come to terms with whether or not I enjoyed that or not, but the fact that I'm still thinking about it and questioning it makes me think, well, it must have been effective. And with my runner-up book of the week, let's talk Batman number 4, written by Matt Fraction with artwork by Jorge Jimenez. So Batman is investigating some petty street crime that just doesn't quite add up, and all the while we have this network of crime families that are coming together under new leadership. This was Batman light, but that's okay. We get to spend a lot of time here with this Tauros character, right? He's the bank of the criminal activity, and this dude is basically Cyrus from the Warriors, right? He's standing up there kind of gathering up all the gangs saying, "Can you dig it?" Jimenez just can't miss in this book, though. He is so consistently great, right? DC has like this just stable of fantastic artists. And when I think of DC, I think of Dan Mora and Jorge Jimenez. They are just like laying the groundwork and the foundation for everything fantastic about DC. This is just a Batman light issue, though, which is the only downside to it. But I have to say, when Jimenez gets the opportunity to really have some fun, he definitely takes advantage of it. It makes me kind of wonder, though, with him being on the book for so long here, when are we going to get Jimenez doing a different book? When are we going to get him kind of taking on something bigger in scope here? I'm not mad with the fact that he's here. In fact, I'll take him drawing Batman for the rest of my life. But I'm also ready to see what else he's able to deliver. And with my top comic of the week, let's talk Giant Size Criminal number 1, written by Ed Brubaker with artwork by Sean Phillips. Our friend old Ricky Lawless is back, and he's trying to pay off some outstanding debt from an unsavory figure here. His bookie is none too happy with him. And, knowing Ricky Lawless, I'm sure things go super smooth. If you're not a criminal fan here, just jump in. Just get in on this story here. There's nothing that's going to hold you back here. There's no homework assignment needed here. In fact, that is your homework assignment. Just get this book. You're going to understand the world of Criminal through and through. This is your primer, right? And this is going to make you want to dive into everything else that happens here. It's insane. There's so many things that happen in this issue that are just so freaking fun, man. You're going to be hooked on Criminal the same way that Ricky Lawless is hooked on his closet candy, if you know what I mean. Read the issue. You'll get that joke. The thing is, this creative team is just astounding, right? They've done so many things throughout the years that it's hard not to think of them, honestly, in the same way that I think of Stan and Jack. Ed and Sean deserve the kudos that they get. They deserve that kind of accolade. When you think of those names, that's what you get from these kind of comics. That's how important these are. That's the experience that you should be deriving from these things. Giant Size Criminal, such a fun experience. You also get an RPG from Kieran Killen in here. You get some like Sunday Funny news strips in here that are fantastic. They kind of tell a little bit of the background story of some things that are happening on the Amazon Criminal TV show, which, by the way, I can't freaking wait until that comes out. Giant Size Criminal #1, though. You can't get a better creative team on this. It's probably one of my favorite comics of all time, series-wise here. This was definitely the best kind of issue to get new readers to jump right in. So that's what I've got for you this week, but I'm more curious. What did you read, and what were your thoughts? Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and be part of the panel. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next week.